Job seekers in 2025 are not asking for much. All they're asking for is a little bit of honesty and maybe a tad bit of respect. We just want you to be truthful. People are just tired of being gaslighted because if all we're going to hear is about the unemployment rate and all the jobs that are being created and that doesn't match our reality, I mean, how are we supposed to feel? Because I think everyone feel much better if they went onto job boards, job sites, right? Like LinkedIn, Indeed, something like that. And they looked for jobs and they didn't see that many. Maybe they saw 5 new postings a week. But out of those 5 postings, you at least can tell that someone is eventually being interviewed, right? Maybe your colleague also applied to that job and they had an interview and if you didn't, or vice versa. But to just go on and see an endless list of jobs and it not leading to anybody you know getting any kind of interviews is just ridiculous. And it shouldn't be allowed to happen. But all we actually hear about is how great everything is. And then it's like some kind of reality show that you're trying to win in order to land an elusive interview. And maybe you're not doing a scavenger hunt or trying to figure out some kind of puzzle or an escape room kind of situation, or maybe trying to answer all kinds of trivia. Who knows? But you're doing different kind of games. And your odds are probably just as poor whether you're on a reality show or whether you are in the job market. Because I don't believe that most reality TV is actually reality. I think they have it all mapped out and they know who's going to win before they even start rolling the cameras. And I think it's the same thing with jobs. You could apply for a job all you want to, but this is all smoke and mirrors. This is all a game because they know who they're going to hire from most of these job postings. It's either going to be an internal candidate or it's someone's niece or nephew, or they're just not gonna hire anyone at all. They just really need these tax breaks from the government. And all they have to do is not much. All they have to do is say, oh yeah, we posted 100 jobs this month. And the government's like, oh, that's awesome. You created 100 new jobs. I'm like, yeah, something like that. And then that's all that it takes. And the reality is that these reality games will probably be a little bit more interesting than figuring out what the next shape in the rotation is going to be, than talking to a virtual recruiter, or just basically talking to yourself, recording your own answers after reading a couple interview questions, or uploading a resume that's supposed to be parsed out only to have to fix your whole resume again. I think it's funny that the technology that these companies use can't successfully parse a resume, but they think that it could figure out if someone is an ideal fit or not within like 5 seconds. That's always kind of interesting to me. It fails completely in one area, but it's supposed to also be amazing in another area. I'm not sure that makes any sense. And today we actually have a hiring manager who admitted to the fact that they don't read resumes. They're not into it. They want to do other things. So let's see exactly what they have to say. Logan says, I don't read resumes for 2 reasons. In my mind, most resumes by now are either embellished or AI generated. In a tough job market, there's a lot of incentive to tailor your resume to fit the exact job post, which any chatbot can do. The more important reason is that, honestly, resumes are boring and I don't want to read them. I head straight to the screening questions I put on all applications. Simple word puzzle to cull the people who are scam applying. Your answers to the following questions are more important than your resume. Good answers will get an interview. Do you object? And number 2, culture fit for Commanda. Why do you believe in economic freedom? So I looked at this guy's profile briefly to see if he's just one of these crap posters or he just posts satire that is completely opposite of what you really should do. But I mean, he's actually a hiring manager at this Commanda and one of these department leads. So I don't think he's just posting this to be funny. I think we actually have someone bold enough to confess that they don't read resumes. They're boring. I mean, a resume is your summary of what you have done. It is your chance to show that you are aligned with the position that is open. How could that be worse than doing some kind of puzzles and games? I just don't see what you benefit out of it. And yeah, sure, you could use ChatGPT or chatbots or whatever to customize your resume. Okay, start interviewing people. If they can't walk you through their resume very quickly, then probably they're lying about their experience. If you can ask an actual good question face to face, or at least over the computer screen, and they can't answer it, and they say, oh, I have 10 years experience in X, Y, Z. You ask them some basic questions about that and they can't answer it. Okay, they're probably lying. You don't have to have 5, 6, 7 rounds of interviews. You don't even have to have interviews that last 1 hour. You could have these 10, 15-minute sessions, and if they're good, then you can continue it on maybe, but you could also cut interviews short. Maybe you give them 30 minutes, and if they're clearly lying, okay, cut them off, get some extra time back. But you're never gonna really know unless you have a conversation with that person. And puzzles and quizzes and these tricks, just trying to have someone fall into a trap, is not a better way to interview someone for a job position. And what do you believe in economic freedom have to do with whether you can do some code or not? How is that any better? And yeah, AI is being used to tailor resumes, tailor cover letters, but it's also used to create job posts. It's used to eliminate people who are exact fits for the role, who have done these jobs before. So you're using it too. You stop using it and we'll stop using it. How about that? Number 3, a quick check on how you think about challenges. Would you rather sail across the Pacific Ocean or climb Mount Everest? 90% of candidates type yes or NA for all 3. The next 8% use AI to write generic answers. The remaining 2% who sit down and write meaningful answers are the 2% who actually want to join our team. They care enough to read the application, tell me about themselves, and shoot their shot. Those are the 2% I interview. Anyone else have creative ways of screening candidates? All right, this is someone who should definitely not be in a hiring position. I'm sure it's probably a startup or a small company, and you get what you can get, right? Because you're not going to probably pay these people full time, and they already have all these other things going on. So hiring people, so being in HR or talent acquisition also for their role when they're doing 4 or 5 different things, it's probably not going to feel like it's worth their time. And no one really gets trained on how to interview people, the right things to do. So this is the kind of nonsense and the kind of mentality that you will see at a company. But bro, are you saying 2% of the people who fill out applications for your company are real humans? BS. I'm sorry, that's just not true. So yeah, you can have screening questions, right? We've all applied to jobs on LinkedIn and we see that there's some pre-questions. I mean, most of them are not this idiotic, but even if they were, okay, you fill out a little question, it's stupid or whatever, but you can't tell me that only 2% of the people would actually fill in something for these things. Okay, these questions are important. All right, so you set the stage. And then, do you believe in economic freedom? I mean, are you supposed to write a paragraph about that? You can say yes or you can say no. You're probably gonna say yes. And then, would you rather sail across the Pacific Ocean or climb Mount Everest? I don't know what that tells me. And you don't say like, oh, write me a 4-page essay on these things. If you answer one or the other, you're gonna think that that person's a chatbot. And maybe NA might be appropriate, or no, I wouldn't rather do any of that. I mean, would I rather do one thing that's going to leave me dead or another thing that's going to leave me dead? I don't think either one of these are good options. So yeah, if you think you're such a smart cookie and you're a genius and you figured out how to weed out the chatbots, the people strongly using AI from the real humans to get to that 2%, and you're interviewing every single actual human that applies, you're fooling yourself, but you're not gonna fool me. So maybe a creative way to screen candidates and figure out if someone's a good fit is come up with a really good job description. Something that's not like buzzwords and nonsense, like things that people will actually do in the role. Maybe put what the actual salary range is, not just competitive, and also not a range of like 40,000 to 200,000, because that's not a real range. And as resumes come in, maybe you can't look over 1,000 resumes. Okay, let's be realistic. But certainly everyone who comes in the first day or two, who has a good resume, looks properly formatted, seems like they have a decent amount of experience, all right, call them and interview them. Or have someone on your team do it, even if it's a quick phone call. You might not like what you hear from everybody. Okay, cool. You don't have to bring everyone into an in-person interview, but I don't know, actually do the process right, or outsource or hire someone to do it. But we see all these HR people on the chopping block or who have the open work banners. Like, I actively try not to find too many examples when we're giving people's testimonies about their job struggles. I try not to find too many people who are in talent acquisition or recruitment or HR, but it's very difficult because this is one of the main careers being completely cut out already by AI. Not 5 years from now, not 10 years from now, already right now. So, but this is what we're left with. These hiring managers with this God complex who think that they're so dang smart that they're gonna try to trick everybody into eliminating themselves so that they're only left with 2%. Yeah, right, come on. And then we have a story from one of you in the comment section. Magic Park Memories shares with us. I have a funny story for your viewers. I had a recruiter email me about a job. He had an American name. I called him and left a voicemail. He called me back within a minute and he was clearly from India with his dialect. So we talked for 5 minutes. He is working for a recruiting business located in Frisco, Texas, but he is living in South Carolina and working remotely. He talked about a job that is 50 minutes away. So I have to laugh that a recruiter is okay with working remotely, but the job seeker has to go back to the office. Then I get another call from a recruiter and he had a job that was far away and he had the nerve to ask me if I could move because the pay is good, and he did not even ask me if I owned a house or rent it. What is wrong with these recruiters? I think they failed their geography lessons in school. So thank you for sharing that. It's nice when you guys leave a comment. I know I can share it on the channel or not. That made it very clear. So thank you so much. And thank you for being a regular commenter. Unfortunately, I don't think this person from India was actually living in South Carolina. I think they're actually just in India, and they're just told like, oh no, don't tell them that you're in Mumbai or New Delhi. Tell them that you're in some American city, and that's fine. So probably wasn't really working remotely in the States, probably still back at home in India. And then, yeah, I get these things all the time. I'm in one part of Florida and they say, oh yeah, we have this awesome opportunity here. It's like, well, on my profile, it tells you what city I'm in, and or at least ask like, hey, are you open to moving to this other part of the state? Instead of just saying, oh, we have a great opportunity fully on site for you 5 days a week, and it's gonna be a 5-hour drive from your home, but are you interested? No, I'm not interested. They don't look up anything. I don't even know. I guess they look at, hey, if you are in a state and if you have had this experience, sometimes I'll get emails for things I've never ever done before. And like, hey, I think you're a perfect fit. So it's just ridiculous. Recruiters are clearly not reading your resume. They're clearly not reading your profile. And they'd rather play games than find a real good candidate for their open position, if it is an open position in the first place, if they're not just trying to do flex posting or whatever they're trying to do. But let me know what you think of this down in the comments below. And if you have some extra time, YouTube thinks you'll get a lot of value out of the video on screen now. And until next time, remember, times are tough, but so are you. Talk to you later.